This is the story of Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, there was a king and queen who longed for an heir. However, despite their fervent wishes, they never had a baby. Much later, the couple's desire was finally fulfilled, and they had a beautiful daughter. To celebrate her birth, they organized a grand feast and invited fairy godmothers to bless the child. However, due to the king's shortage of golden plates, only 12 fairies were invited. They bestowed special gifts upon the newborn, such as kindness, beauty, and wisdom. After 11 fairies had bestowed their blessings, a resentful fairy who hadn't been invited stormed into the hall. In her anger, she uttered a dark prophecy. When the princess turns 15, she shall be wounded by a spinning wheel and fall into death. She then quickly exited the hall, leaving everyone shocked. Fortunately, the 12th fairy had not yet bestowed her gift upon the child. She couldn't undo the evil spell, but she could make it slightly less terrible. She said, "The princess shall not die, but shall sleep for 100 years until awakened by a true love's kiss from a brave prince." Determined to avert such a fate, the king ordered the removal of all spinning wheels from the kingdom. Meanwhile, the fairies' blessings came true, and the princess grew in virtue, beauty, and intelligence, becoming beloved by all. On the eve of the princess's 15th birthday, the king and queen had to go on a journey, leaving the princess alone. Bored, she explored the castle until she found an old tower. There, she discovered a spinning wheel, and her curiosity led her to touch it. In that moment, she pricked her finger, and the spell was fulfilled. When the king returned and found the princess sleeping deeply, he carried her to the most beautiful room and laid her on a bed. The king ordered that no one disturb her. Then he asked the 12th good fairy to put everyone in the palace to sleep as well, and they wouldn't awaken until the princess did. In the meantime, a great thorn fence grew around the palace, so that only the towers were visible. 100 years passed, and a young prince from another kingdom traveled through the land and heard the story of Sleeping Beauty. At that time, no one had been able to enter the castle. But the prince was not afraid and decided to try. As he approached the castle, a miracle happened. The thorn fence turned into beautiful flowers, and the trees and bushes moved aside automatically. Upon entering the castle, he found all its inhabitants asleep. Finally, he reached the tower room where the princess was sleeping. Although 100 years had passed, she still looked young. She was the most beautiful girl the prince had ever seen, and he couldn't stop looking at her. Captivated by her beauty, he fell in love with her and kissed her. As he kissed her, the evil fairy's spell was finally broken, and everyone in the castle awoke. The princess, awake, laughed joyfully and said, "Are you my prince? I have waited so long for you." Then the prince and princess found happiness together, sealing their love in a joyful wedding ceremony, and lived happily ever after. Remember to like the video and subscribe to our channel to watch the next videos. Bye.